So our next speaker is Ann Wright, who is a former colonel in the U.S. Army and a former official in the U.S. State Department. Resigned when the Bush administration invaded Iraq, and has since been just an amazing model of how to work for peace. And I think those of us who've had a chance to hang around and absorb some of the vibe really get so inspired, because you think that, here's somebody whose life was so caught up in war and military and being part of the system, and then the time that she stepped back and stepped away from it, then took on this peace movement with such energy and such verve that she gives all of us a kind of shot in the arm to when we're feeling, I don't know, today I'm a little tired, I'm not sure I want to work for peace today. You got to follow Ann's footsteps, which is every day is a day to work for peace. So give a warm welcome to Ann.
Well, thank you, Medea, and it is, of course, always a great pleasure. Let me just scoot over here. It's a great pleasure always to be at yet one more Code Pink event. I'll tell you what, Code Pink never stops. And Medea was very kind to say, I do a lot of stuff, but I am in no way in the league of everything that Code Pink is cooking up every minute of every hour of every day. I mean, it is one of the most dynamic groups we have in the United States of America. Yeah. And if wasn't for Code Pink, we would be sitting here right now, and we wouldn't have heard from these four wonderful women and the tremendous historical and emotional journeys that they have been on. I mean, I, as a white woman in the United States of America, also 62 years old, but coming from a very, very different background from the South, growing up as a Southern person during the time of the Civil Rights Movement, but not participating in it. Joining the military right after college, being in the military for 29 years, in the State Department, and being a part of hopefully no human rights violations. I mean, I tried desperately during the time that I was in the government not to be associated with the horrible policies that each one of the eight presidents that I served under, starting with Lyndon Johnson during the Vietnam War. That's when I started in the military, and all the way up to George Bush. So you can count yourselves how many times you've been marching in protest to policies of virtually every one of those presidents, and yet I was a part of the government. A part of a government that is made up of military people, many of whom say, I don't really want to go kill people in Vietnam, I don't want to kill people in Iraq or Afghanistan, but I am in the military and I do what I'm ordered. Diplomats who spend their whole lives in the government, who say, well, I'm not really, those aren't my policies. It's the people of America that elected these idiots, these presidents. I mean, these people who come up with some of the strangest policies. And yet I, as a government employee, stayed with the government until 6 years ago. And it was finally the decision of the Bush administration to invade and occupy Iraq, an oil-rich Arab Muslim country that did not attack the United States. Finally, for me, that was something that I said I just cannot do. I cannot be associated with this government anymore. And rightfully, people could say, well, you should have resigned, much earlier. Why'd you even join the...
Yeah, really.
Yeah, that's right. I think I hear that chirpy little voice quite often saying, why'd you do that? Medea and many of the Code Pinkers are very good catalysts for doing a little more thinking about what you've done in your past life. But, that said, I kind of reflect, unfortunately, kind of a majority of Americans who get along, go along. They don't step out of the norm. They listen to what their government's saying. They kind of do what the government wants them to do. And it was just very recent in my own life that, I kind of stepped out of the path, the herd with everybody else, and kind of started on this other course. And it certainly is being with people like you all who have been through a lifetime of activism, of challenging the government, of, I've got this little shirt on that says, "We will not be silent." Well, you all weren't silent. You weren't silent. You aren't silent. And I am so glad to be part of a very loud and raucous crew for peace, saying to not only the Bush administration, but the Obama administration, that we have to. We've got to call their hands on what they're doing. And we tried hard during the Bush administration and weren't listened to. And now we've got a situation with the Obama administration where we have really better pull out the stops, because we're seeing us going down the same path with an escalation in wars, with a new war starting out in Pakistan, with a 4% increase just yesterday in the defense budget, 4%, $31 billion more dollars under this. And don't anyone think it's a peace president. He never said he was. And we have to be honest about what he said he was going to do. And he said from the beginning he was going to increase the war in Pakistan. He sure is. And he was going to increase the size of the military to 95,000. He was going to increase the number of people in Afghanistan. And he's doing it. And I don't like that. And I hope you all will be out with us right there in front of the White House starting at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And let's go on. Thank you.